welcome to The Drop, the official podcast of the 130th Airlift Wing. I'm Master Sergeant Dewan Haley. Today we are joined by Senior Master Sergeant Debbie Turrill, a loadmaster assigned to the 130th Operations Group. Senior Master Sergeant Turrill has the distinction of being the first female loadmaster in the history of the 130th Airlift Wing. Thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome.
So I wanted to start out just a little bit, just telling us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Williamstown, West Virginia. I played a lot of sports, grew up with a bunch of rednecks, did a lot of dirt bike riding in the woods, things like that. I think that helped me become the better loadmaster and to deal with the guy mentality of the 130th.
So what was your catalyst for joining the military?
I actually was going to sign up for the active duty. Was almost ready to sign the paperwork, and my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer for the first time. So I went back to the recruiter, explained everything, and he told me about the Air Guard in Charleston, which in Williamstown and Parkersburg area in the 90s, it wasn't real advertised. The Air Guard was not. So I drove to Charleston and talked to R.D. Chestnut. And from that, I joined in 1993 and went into admin and worked for Chief Hartley in personnel section.
Okay. So after that, what made you want to become an aircrew member?
We did an ORE in 93, and it was the first time I got on the C-130. And I looked at Chief Hartley, and I talked to the loadmasters, which would have been Paul Dolan then, and said, I really want to do this. This is fun. And while we were down at the ORE, I got to talk to some more loadmasters and some aircrew members. And Chief Hartley's like, if you want to do this, when we get back, we'll talk. So when we got back, I was really interested in it. I'd only been in my AFSC for 2 years. At the time, you have to have 3 years. The wing signed my letter for my 3-year waiver, and I went to loadmaster school.
What was the type of support that you got, especially here when you first wanted to become a loadmaster? Because like you said, you're the very first female aircrew member in the history of our unit. So was it one of those things where there were some people that discouraged you beforehand?
No, not really. Chief Hartley and Chief Spradling, Chief Boyles, Chief Martin, a lot of the loadmasters that are retired now, they were very helpful. They explained a lot about what being a loadmaster was. And no one really said anything just about me being a woman. This is what a loadmaster does. And if you can do it, if you can pass the flight physical, we're on board.
Okay.
And that would have been 1995.
Okay. So I know earlier we talked about some of the challenges that you faced when you went to loadmaster school. Can you talk a little bit about that? And what were the things that you did to overcome those issues?
When I went to loadmaster school, I was the only female down there in my class, which wasn't a big deal. Then it was about a 6-month course. There was 2 sections of flying. So when I was ready to get my first check ride, went in, signed my crew orders, was ready to get my check ride. My evaluator at the time down there didn't realize I was a female and saw my name, came in, saw my name tag on my flight suit, told me to get my stuff and go back home. I would get my check ride tomorrow. I was really confused. He's like, I'm not giving check rides to females. Wow. So that was very discouraging. I called home, talked to Chief Chandler and Chief Boyles, and they said, it's not a big deal, you've got this. I went in the next day and did really well on my check ride.
Okay.
It was the first time that it just stuck in my head that I'm going to beat everybody at this, and I'm going to be the best loadmaster I can.
So do you feel like, like that one situation, it made you, in a sense, the type of person that you am today because you wanted to overcome all those odds?
Yes, completely.
Yeah.
It was definitely the starting point, and it was definitely the push that I needed to keep going. And when I got back home to the 130th, most people were, very helpful, and they're like, you can do this, you got this. And I worked 100% harder than everyone just to prove that I could do it. You know, women aren't as strong as men, so I had to prove that I could lift the parachute doors or I could move the cargo and things like that. So it was hard at the beginning. Most of the aircrew members were great. I mean, I had a couple, you know, our older people that are retired now.
Yeah.
Wasn't so sure that a female should be on the airplane, you know, but they weren't mean or, you know, anything like that about it. They just kind of ignored me for a little while. And once they got used to me being there and they saw that I just wasn't going to sit around and let the guys do my job, that I did the work and, you know, I was there to stay.
Yeah.
Everyone seemed to, you know, back me up a lot more.
That is one thing that's interesting, too, especially with you coming in 93, is, you know, you still had people who I would assume that were here when this unit was founded.
Yes.
So it's one of those, they've grown up in this old mindset for so long, and then when something happens that changes that mindset, you know, you face that resistance. Can you talk a little bit about that?
There were several older pilots, officers, that definitely had the mindset that females shouldn't be there, should be home cooking. But it got better. It did, you know, because once you prove yourself, they adapt to it a little bit. But they still, a lot of them wouldn't fly with me, you know, and I took it to heart, but I tried not to, and it was just another push that made me want to show them so much more that it doesn't matter that I'm a female. I'm a loadmaster, and I'm going to get it done. So, but it got better, I will say that, as time went on, and as our older guys retired, you know, it got much better.
Better by attrition and by
yes,
and by other means.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your current support system and how they've helped you.
My mother raised me on her own, so she raised me very independent. And she's always there for me, even though through several cancers and things like that. But the ops group, I have so many people up there that support me, and my retired guys too. I mean, Mark Campbell, Boyles, I'm always texting. They're always there backing me up through everything. If I get confused up here, you know, and I don't want to go to someone that's still here, I'm on the phone. Help me out. What do you think? You know, and they've been away for a couple of years, but it's great to have that support outside of here too. Right. Chief Gross has always been there for me to bounce stuff off of, to vent to. Colonel Priest, you know, is always there also. Amazing pilot and so much fun to be on the road with. And I'm very happy for him where he is at. But there are a lot of people here. I mean, our loadmasters, our ops group is an amazing support system. You know, Colonel Switzer, always have the open door. Come in, talk to him. You know, it's a great thing to have. You know, it's like brothers everywhere. Right. You know, so a lot of people, a lot of good people. And my family, you know. It's hard to bounce stuff off your family sometimes being military. Yeah. Because you start talking about stuff and they look at you like you're talking Greek. What are you talking about? So, but it's still nice just to go home and to not have the military part of it. Right. You know, because none of my immediate family is in the military. So you can actually get away from it a little bit. Right. Yeah. So that's nice.
That's good. So let's talk about your previous deployment. So you just got back from a deployment. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was the loadmaster superintendent. Just tried to keep all the loadmasters going. If anybody went to NIF, I would fly for them. I worked with ATOC to make sure the loads were good. I mean, we would have some problems with some loads or generators. We had gas actually spew on a couple loadmasters, so I had to work with special handling and ATOC and our crews to make sure nobody got hurt. And so I did that a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. What else did I do? I had to do a lot of additional duties. I was the security manager over there. I was the building manager over there. Helped out the first shirt, which was Nate Meadows. Okay. Did a great job. It was his first deployment with our ops group. So, and we were with Cheyenne. Awesome unit. I had a lot of good times with those guys.
Yeah, I know that they said it's kind of unusual for a loadmaster to both be superintendent and fly,
Yeah.
especially in a deployed location. But how did you adapt to that?
I tried to make my crew rest equal out to where I would be able to go in to do my office job too. So I'd make sure everything was done and make sure all my ground guys knew what was going on, and then I'd go fly. If I had time still left on my crew day, I'd go in, make sure everybody was good. All of our jobs were taken care of. You know, the water was in there and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to make it match.
Okay. So one thing too is I'm looking, and you already know this, but you were voted the senior NCO of the month, or not of the month, but of the quarter of the second quarter of 2020.
Yes, Chief Williams told me that.
Yeah.
That was a surprise.
So in that, we talk about the whole airman concept, and just outside, what are your hobbies, the things that you like to do? I know here it says that you do the Adopt a Highway program.
Yeah, I work with the VFW. I'm in the Pinch VFW. We do trash pickup, and we do a lot of funerals and things like that, and we support our veterans through the Elkview Pinch area as much as we can. We have like hot dog sales and stuff like that. And
what is it like to deal with those older vets? Do you enjoy it?
I do.
Yeah.
It's great because I love listening to the stories. We have actually a Korean guy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And a couple of the Vietnam guys still. And it's great to listen to their stories. Sad, too, because you can see the difference in the military. I mean, I've been in 27 years, and I feel like I'm older for the unit. And when we tell stories to the younger guys coming in, it's like, oh, man, I'm one of those old guys.
Yeah.
I'm not as old as the Vietnam guys yet, so.
It's
really great.
I always say one of the markers of you feeling old is when you joined before some of the people in the unit were born.
Yes. I have a lot of that going on in the loadmaster section right now. I'm like, I could be your mother. This is not good. Yeah. I do the VFW. I do a lot of cat rescues. Everyone likes to call me the cat lady. Yeah. I work with feral paws and meow cat rescue. Okay. I foster kittens, or I get feral kittens to socialize them so they get adopted out and stuff.
So with being a loadmaster, that requires a lot of travel. How do you balance the travel life with being at home?
It's hard. I have a lot of great friends that help me with the house. And when I was deployed, like Troy Baker and Alex Moorhead and Mary Gross, they helped me out, took care of my house, took care of the cats. Would always text me or let me know everything was okay. If I had problems, the VFW guys would come to the house, take care of my air conditioning or my heater. My family is all in Ohio, so sometimes it's difficult to take care of the house, fly, see my family. Yeah. This COVID thing is definitely not helpful. My nephew is a senior this year. I want to watch him play football, so yeah. The traveling thing gets in the way of family, but when I'm home, I definitely try to make sure I'm in Ohio with my family.
And focused on them. Yeah, I know that's very important, especially as a military member, and especially the traveling. You still need that little bit of, like, normalcy. Yeah,
the downtime, to be just not really military, just a normal person.
Just to be Debbie instead of Senior Master Sergeant.
Yeah.
I feel like, that is very important.
Yep.
So what advice would you give to any so I'm going to ask this first for a female. What advice would you give to a female who wanted to be a aircrew member? And what advice would you give to just anyone else? Because I feel like that some of those dynamics would be a little bit different in a way.
They are and they're not. Because that's where we need to, stop the female-male thing. But to any female that wanted to do anything, you got your CCT guys, you got female pilots in combat zones now, you know what I mean? And so many of them, I guarantee, were told, you're a female, you can't do it. So don't let anybody tell you can't do something because you're a female, ever, And you're going to have to try probably 100% more than the guys. But if you really want it, it's not a big deal, right? You work to get to where you want to be. And I hope that's not only a female, but a male thing too.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you have to have a strong head to be able to overcome all of the female-male stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, aircrew is a different world. You know, we eat our own, so to speak, but we are one of the tightest families that you'll ever see. Right. You know, so yeah, don't let anybody talk you out of anything. You know, be a hard charger if you really want it. Get it, take it, and make it your own, and then you'll always do great at it. Because if you love your job, if you love what you're doing, you're going to work at it, and you're going to be better each time. And as somebody tells you something to make you better, you have to remember it's not a female thing or a male thing. They're trying to make you a better person or a better airman or a better loadmaster. Right. You know, because you have all kinds of personalities in the military. And gosh knows we have them in ops group, you know. So you have to just remember to take each personality, teach that, instruct that, and go with it.
So with you coming in at 93 and this being 2020, what are some changes that you've seen in your time from the start of being a loadmaster to now?
Well, it's different. I don't know. Yeah. We did so much. It feels like the ops tempo has never changed. We're always going. But you have the political correctness that's coming in the military, and I know for a lot of older people that's kind of hard, and by no means do anybody mean to disrespect somebody, but that culture change that we're all going through is a little harder for some of us, me included. Yeah. I remember a long time ago when I first started flying, a chief threw a checklist at me and, you know, told me to read it. It's not something you can do nowadays, you know.
Although you want to
people
sometimes.
Have feelings.
Yeah.
You know, the older military, your feelings were gone, right? You know, it's just how things were. But our ops tempo seems to be the same. I mean, this unit is amazing. We keep going. We adapt, you know, with this J model conversation coming in. You know, everyone is thinking, you know, what's going to happen. But everybody is still going strong. You know, we deployed with that looming over us, and we're going to Silver Arrow, and we have all these exercises, and we keep flying, Sentry Storm, stuff like that. It's just a culture change. Yeah. Personality changes, how people are growing up. We just have to adapt, right, to how everybody is.
So in 2010, we lost Senator Byrd, which in the state of West Virginia is a huge deal. You know, it brought back 3 presidents, I believe, most of Congress. But one thing, you were chosen as one of the aircrew members to bring his body back home to the state. Can you talk about the honor of being selected, handpicked as one of those individuals?
Yeah, that was amazing. We did a lot of work, get the airplanes ready. Aerialport got us the slides, so we made sure the plane was slick, clean, maintenance, I mean, top and bottom. And it was definitely a major honor, you know. We flew General Tackett up there, and as most people know, General Tackett and Byrd were the best of friends. We got up there. It was amazing, you know, the Secret Service, how Andrews just shut down, and the respect and the honor of everyone on that airplane to be able to bring him home. I know when we got back, or as we were flying from Andrews back to Charleston, you know, I sat back there with General Tackett, you know, with Senator Byrd with the flag, and it was sombering, you know, because we've all lost people, and but it was such an honor to be with him, you know, and to be on that airplane. So when we got home and we all helped, you know, put the body and watched him go down the road, you know, it was such a loss for the state and for the wing, you know, because he did so much for this wing.
So let's talk a little bit about your future plans. What do you want to do with in the near future and then even later on?
my near future is to keep everything going, right?
Yeah.
I just put senior on a year ago, so hopefully, you know, if time and place will allow, I would like to become a chief. You know, we'll have to see how that goes. I will definitely strive for it and try to keep my steps going in my future that way, and definitely retire. You know, early 50s to be able to enjoy retirement.
Right.
I have a lot of friends that have left the past couple years. You know, Mark Campbell, Paul Dolan just retired. And I talk to them all the time. They're like, retirement is great. You know, text all the time from Cheap Oils going, this is good. Do it earlier, you know. So it's definitely something I have in the future. You know, that beach setting is calling my name.
Yeah.
So, but we'll have to see what happens, you know.
I just want to thank you for being on the podcast, and I just want to wish you success for your future endeavors.
Thanks for having me.
And that's going to do it for this episode of The Drop. For more information about the 130th Airlift Wing, visit us on the web at www.130aw.ang.af.mil. Additionally, you can find us on all major social media platforms. Lastly, you can see us in the skies delivering freedom with courage. This is Master Sergeant Dewan Haley reminding you to stay ready to go.